my darlings, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, welcome to the channel. My name is Patty Cake Games, and I play games. This is the most likely, I don't know for sure, but it's most likely going to be the final episode of I Am Dead. I've been enjoying this game immensely. And I as much as I have been enjoying it, I am ready to move on and do a new game. I'm excited. I have several games lined up. And those are going to be great. They've got great reviews. I've just never played them before. I'm going in blind. It's going to be great. But I'm really anxious to see how this turns out. I have kind of a couple of theories as to how the game is going to end. Some of them are a little sadder than others. But judging by the company that made this game, it's probably going to be something that's a little bit melancholy because they never really have 100% happy endings. So let's find out what happens. So we're at the museum now, which is we're going to go look for memories for Aggie, the original custodian of the island. And we have to find those and figure out how to save this place. But I don't know exactly what I'm looking for. I mean, I suppose I'm looking for memories, but... See, this is the disc from, this is the memory from the campground. One of the items from the campground. And, okay. Well, I'm going to look around, see if I see memories the way I normally see them. But I may not see them. So, oh, this is like all the exhibits. Okay, so front desk, museum, nothing. No description. Can't talk. I haven't had enough coffee. It's very early. It's not even 9 o'clock. I started earlier than I normally do today. This. I don't need to mute the game. Okay. The Morlo Cull. The history of the barbaric slaughter of the Morlos, their use in industry, and the Save the Morlos campaign, which finally ended the annual cull and made them a protected animal in the waters of Shelmerston. So they have like a whole museum display for that, which is pretty cool. The legend of the camel. Sightings of camels date back to the early 1800s, but are there really camels on Shelmerston? We look at the evidence. It's like an investigative museum piece. The story of the Shelmerston Lighthouse. Shelmerston's lighthouse was built in 1907. This exhibit shows its construction and features a number of historical items from its operation as well as a scale model of the lighthouse itself. The Shelmerston Silver Band. It's like reviewing everything we've done in the game so far. I love this. Formed in the early 1990s by Henry Nancaro and a feature of most public occasions, Shelmerston's brass band is an essential feature of the island's cultural heritage. The Cabinet of Curiosities. This cabinet contains replicas and rare materials relating to the weirder side of Shelmerston's history. Anthony Scruggins, local ne'er-do-well. And Kate Bergonzi. Bosphorus is Katie's favorite thing in the entire museum. He used to belong to her granddad, and she loved looking at him as a very young child. When her granddad died, her grand donated Bosphorus to the museum, and now she likes to visit him here. It's a relief map of Shelmerston. What is this? The 1993 vegetable grow-off. For many years, noted Shelmerston gardeners Percy Godwin and Alistair Pinchwhistle were locked in a furious competition to see who would grow the largest specimens on the allotments. Those are some big vegetables, my goodness. Okay, that's Arthur Pincosi, waiting for Katie to be done so they can go out and play. It's an albatross? Oh, it's David Abrahams. It's the owl. A Jimson sea owl who lived on the island, mateless for many years, donated to the museum by Greg Litherland. Oh, there's one. Oh, well, okay.
Don't suppose I'll have a look at Aggie's room the same way again, will I?
Morris, take a look at those skulls, please.
The skulls? Well, they have memories inside them? Oh, that's rather morbid, Sparky.
Not quite. Look, I didn't explain this before because I felt things were confusing enough, but that slicing is a bit more powerful than I've led you to believe.
Oh, well, what do you mean?
Well, we aren't limited to memories of people who are alive. People are bounded by time, but memories aren't. check it out.
Okay. All right, Shelmiston 1400 BC. This exciting new exhibit showcases the results of a recent archaeological dig on the foot of Shelmiston's volcano. The unearthing of the preserved remains of a human woman, the Bog Lady of Shelmiston, along with a number of her possessions. Okay, so let's take a look. I bet each one of these is going to have a memory.
Oh, I didn't think dead stomachs could get queasy. But here we are. Where are we, Sparky?
When are
Yeah, I was
we,
about to say,
Morris?
when are we? We went back in
This
time.
is Shelmiston in Aggie's time. You should be able to find some memories of her here.
You are some dog, Sparky.
Let's see.
It was the worst night in the world when Aggie was born. It began in the old village, the one swept away by the rivers of fire. The ground shook and the earth split open and spat sparks. The sun hid and the huts burst into flame as we fled. I thought we would all die, everyone washed in the burning orange death, and Aggie's mother howling with the pain of the child coming. We made it as far as the cliff top by the sea. The mountain was still roaring and roaring. The rock ran in rivers toward the sea. The air smelled of death and poison. But Aggie was perfect. Small and angry, her tiny fists pummeling the air. I used my knife to cut the cord. We chose a spot for the new village, closer to the beach. The burning rivers cooled to pumice and black glass. I made sure everyone knew that a life that began in this way would be special. Not everyone believed me, but Aggie proved me right.
My goodness. Giving birth like that must have been awful. What a terrifying situation.
So, where do you think that knife is? Should we look around here, or...
No, I'm pretty sure I've seen that knife before. Back at the museum, I reckon.
Okay, Morris, let's go.
All right, so knives. Maybe the Morlow call? Oh, no, there it is. The Curiosities. It's right there.
Beautiful. And to think that people had not long stopped using flint tools when this was made.
There is so much history in this knife.
Ooh.
I'd love to see what else it got up to.
Oh, I bet it's this. Yep. Boink. Oh my gosh. I spent the weekend at my mother's house, or actually the week, I should say, the week at my mother's house, and my eyes and nose have still not fully recovered from all of the allergens out there. So I'm a little sniffly, and I'm going to be rubbing my eyes a little bit in this episode. That's why, in case you're curious. It's allergies. Oh, here we go. Oh, it's a fish person. The priestess's hut. Safi and Kirk. Kirk is one of the few fish people to regularly visit the village and share knowledge with the villagers.
Of course we watched her. We had heard of her birth and seen her on the shore. Her feet sometimes in the seawater, her body in the sun. We did not show ourselves at first. As a test, we left the mirror on the black shore, born of the volcano on the same day as her, and waited to see what would happen, to see if it called to her. She picked it up, turned it from side to side. She took it home. The next time I saw her, I introduced myself. We sang together, and I showed her how the mirror worked. How if you emptied your mind and thought of air and light and sea, you would see things in its surface. How things would unfurl in the future. Aggie was better at mirror gazing than any of us sea folk.
Oh, scrying.
She saw a girl, her own daughter not yet born, as leader of the dry folk. I told Aggie to keep on gazing into that mirror, that one day the island would need something more than a leader.
So it's the mirror.
Oh, I had a box of rocks that looked like that mirror somewhere. Where did I put it?
Is it the reel to reel? Yep.
Oh, I'll sing you a song of the Queen of the Sea.
I love it.
When I first met her and when she first met me.
You know, it's like I said in the previous video, I'm not sure if these have just gotten easier or I've just gotten better at doing them, but I find them pretty quickly now. There we go. That was easy. The French horn. Getting the angle on this one's going to be an absolute nightmare. There we go. Got it. Easy enough. Miscellaneous volcanic rock, 1986, right here. This is where it is. Got it.
Whoa. This thing is really powerful, Morris. Can you feel it?
Not really. It's just a rock. I'm kidding. Oh, it's Aggie's daughter. Oh, this is her daughter. Okay, so we've moved into the future.
I was always fearless. My mother Aggie told me there was nothing I couldn't do. With Otsul and without, I hunted the deer in the woods and the hares on the mountain, all before I had taken my first lover.
Okay, girl.
And younger still, one time Aggie had me knock her tooth out when she was in terrible pain. I didn't mind even when the blood poured out. It was easy for me.
She's hardcore.
Spears and knives were my nature. Death and courage were my meat and drink. I knew about Aggie's mirror, of course, but did not believe all of it. When Aggie warned us the Mauler was sick and there would be fewer calves for the following years, none of us listened. It was to be my first cull. I wanted their blood. It was my nature. We would not take less of the Mauler just because an old woman told us to. She came to the beach after the Mauler slaughter, her hair wild, eyes burning with fury, raged and shouted like a woman out of her mind. We had killed too many, she said. Then she left the village, told us she was done with all of us, forever. As Otsul marked me with oil and blood, I did not mourn my mother leaving. I was young and foolish, and the sight of her ashamed me. But of course, I did not see what was to come.
To
Okay.
think that they were still having the same arguments about the Morlo
Right?
back in the Bronze Age.
Aggie must have sensed the trouble ahead. maybe she was trying to find a way to prevent it.
I'm sure she was. Yeah, it's right there.
What a beautiful object. Delighted to have it in our museum.
Yep.
She was alone, and I would bring her food sometimes, samphire and sea urchins. She would make dry food, and we would eat it together. Textures unlike any we knew that broke apart in your hands and in your mouth. We would sing together, make tea together. We became her family. The dry folk left her alone. She had a companion for a few seasons, a hind who came down from the mountain and slept at her fire. And then, for a few more, a golden hare that ate from her hand. One night we all felt it. Those of us in the water and those above. The island waking, rumbling, alive again, more furious than before. I found Aggie awake, tending her fire, unsleeping, unresting, staring into her mirror. She told me she'd seen the island sinking into orange fire and boiling sea, lost forever above and below. The village and our town in the sea caves, all gone. Aggie went to the shore and blew the sinistral shell, calling our people up from the water. Aggie sang for them, the oldest song, and we spoke for some time. That night, the sea and sky was all the same color, a deep gray blue like a mackerel's back without the glitter. As the dawn approached, Aggie left the beach to return to her people, to tell them what must be done.
So it's the horn.
I'm not sure I want to see what happens next.
We have to, Morris.
Here. It's right there. Well, the shell. The shell horn. There are other horns in there, but they're actual
Such a
manufactured
small
horns.
thing. But it changed the entire course of our island.
We heard the shell and knew Aggie had returned. Ibni was the leader then. It had taken many seasons, more than we would have liked, but there were finally enough Morlo again, and our village was growing. We were strong. Some of the younger ones didn't know Aggie and didn't want to hear her, called her a moon-shot crone, but Ibni looked in her mother's face and saw the truth of it. The end would come. The earth was growling again. There would be hot rivers of death and clouds of poison. But Aggie brought us the answer. She would give herself to the island. Ibni's voice shook. Surely a deer or a goat would be enough. The year's finest, blackest calf. Aggie cast down her eyes and shook her head. We all knew. I offered my blade, but Aggie turned me away. She took her knife that had cut her own cord the night the volcano last erupted, and wrapped Ibni's fingers tight around the bone hilt. It must be you, Ibni, she said, and it must be now, before the sun comes up. This day, this morning, or we are all gone. The village, the people, the island. Aggie embraced her daughter. Ibni whispered something, but I could not catch the words. Both women's faces shone with tears. Aggie sat on the ceremonial stone, the tears streaming now from all of us. Aggie delivered her final message. She told us her body must not be burned or given to the sea, but lain in the earth of the island beneath the mountain. Ibni was shaking, and then I realized it was not just Ibni. The whole island was trembling under our feet, waking up. Aggie told Ibni to be quick, the end was coming. As Aggie took Ibni's hand and guided the knife to her side, we saw the fish folk rising from the sea, hundreds of them, so many. I had no idea there were so many. Aggie was quiet the whole time, but Ibni cried out. A sound of longing and hurting from her heart like I had never heard. Then she fell silent, and as Aggie's life poured from her body, the island and everything on it fell suddenly still. Utterly still. We wept then, in sorrow and relief. Then the fish folk were among us, countless, numberless. One embraced Ibni, holding her up as it seemed her own legs might give way. When the sun came up that day, land and sea folk stood together for the first time, talking and singing the old songs, Aggie's songs, together. Ibni and the fish folk took Aggie up onto the mountain. They laid her in the peat alongside the knife and all the things she would need on her journey. Ibni watched over Aggie for days afterwards. Before she was covered, she placed a sacred carved stone, Aggie's beloved hair, inside her mother's mouth, to guide her and help her keep the mountain still forever. And so it was.
So it's in her mouth?
Oh, Aggie. Now that's bravery.
There it is. Still in her mouth.
Hey, Sparky, it feels a bit, disrespectful looking inside Daddy's body like that.
You were the one who dug her up and put her on a plinth, Morris.
Well, that's true.
Relax, Morris. This body isn't Aggie anymore. She's long past needing this old thing.
Well, all right then.
Okay, that's everything.
Okay, Morris. I'll level with you. We absolutely didn't need to find Aggie's mementos in order for me to sniff her out. She's here, waiting for you. She has been this whole time.
But then, why did we need to visit the Bronze Age?
Aggie thought it was important for you to see those memories, so you would understand her path before you met her. But also, wasn't it cool?
But it was. The things I've seen now.
What's happened?
I was worried
Okay.
that being dead was gonna be boring.
You are very welcome, Morris. Okay, so, shall we go say hello to Aggie?
Yes.
Morris, Sparky, it's so good to see you both.
Hey, Aggie.
Wait, you know me?
Of course I do. Morris Lupton, One of the best loved men in the history of Shelmerston. With the very finest dog.
Me? Oh, I don't know.
Come now. Let's go out of this place. Into the air.
The one part of Shelmerston that looks just the same as the first day I saw it. I suppose it always will.
I love this beach. It's always been my favorite beach. I'm gonna go run.
Aggie, look at Sparky. She's shining.
That's the hope and the joy shining out of her.
That's it, isn't it? The point of all of this.
It is hope. Home. This island. It chose the two of you, just as it chose me.
And where will you be heading now? Heaven or something?
Heaven? What's that?
Well, I don't quite know how to explain it. But to me, it would be an awful lot like this beach.
I don't know where I'm going, but I'm hoping to see Ibni, my daughter. It's been a very long time, but I remember her. We never forget the ones we love, do we, Morris?
No, I don't suppose we do.
I think she was something, Morris.
Huh. Would you look at that? I just found a tennis ball in my pocket. Here you are, girl.
Yeah, it was lovely. Give me a minute to gain my composure and I can talk. Okay. That was beautiful. I think and this is kind of where I thought it was going. I thought it was going to be a combination of me and Sparky that took over. But I think the whole concept, the whole message that this game was saying was summed up in that last couple of little pieces of dialogue when she says, we never forget the ones we love. Sorry. We'll never forget the ones we love. Because that's what this is all about. It's all about the memories. You know, every place we went, when we were looking for the spirit, we were looking at the memories of people that loved them, and all those memories were positive. There was never, well, they had a couple of like memories of Greg, but Greg was kind of a disagreeable sort that were a little bit on the negative side. But they also had a positive spin to it because there's a reason why he was angry. You know, he was trying to protect the wildlife, and it makes sense. But at the same time, all of the memories were that we looked at. This, like, I remember the first time I met them, and they did this, and it had an impression. It made an impression on me. It stayed with me. Those memories stayed with them throughout their life, even after that person was gone. So it's sort of like this is how that's how immortality is achieved. You know, through the memories of those that stay behind after you're gone. Anyway, I'm going to go compose myself because I have to record something else now. Oh my gosh, that was a beautiful ending. This was a wonderful game. Thank you everyone for watching, and if you've made it all the way to the end, Thank you for watching the entire series. It's been a lot of fun to play. That is going to be it for this game. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you go down below, click the subscribe button, click the like button if you liked it. Make sure you click the notification bell. That will make sure that you never miss anything that is posted on my channel. Remember, videos post every Saturday at 8 a.m. and additional videos sometimes post during the week depending on how much time I have to record. Leave me comments. Have a great day. Have a great whatever. And I'll see you guys in the next video.